Hello guys, my name is Ella Akins and you are welcome back to my YouTube channel, Life with Ella Akins. So today I'm going to be talking about something very dear to my heart. It's something I've always wanted to share, to talk about, but I've been waiting till I was ready. So I'll be talking about my pregnancy and my childbirth experience. Waiting for the right time, the right platform. I just didn't want to, give half info. I wanted to give you guys the full gist. Okay, so now I'm ready to give you all the full gist. Pregnancy for me was really smooth, thankfully, thanks to God. I had a little bit of cravings, not the mega cravings that people always talk about. Say, oh, I want an elephant's head, I want a lion's tail. No. These that I particularly craved for were things that I could pretty much get, or let me say my cravings were satisfied during pregnancy. Whenever I wanted something, thankfully I could get it myself, or my husband could get it for me. I didn't really have all those weird likeness for things. Some people say they like the smell of cement, or they like the smell of no. Some had born, but that was like late into third trimester. That was before I had my baby. God, the heartburns were terrible. Whenever I ate something peppery or something oily, I wouldn't be able to sleep. But I took antacid, which helped with it. So make sure you have your go ahead from your doctor before you take anything. But for me, it worked for me. During pregnancy, I ate a lot of fruits and vegetables. I did not play with my fruits and vegetables. I did not play with my meds, right? I made sure I took my routine drugs. I took them every day. I took folic acid every day. I took blood capsule every single day. All the time that I went for all the extra checkups, blood glucose level, this and that, everything was perfect. Everything was fine. I didn't have any complication. I didn't have any I didn't have to be on bed rest or anything. So the journey was very smooth, but sometimes it could get a little bit stressful with the hormones all over the place. But apart from that, it was a beautiful, smooth journey. Second trimester, I think that was even the most chilled, right? That's when the hair started growing, the skin was glowing, the bump was there, but cute and everything like that. Yeah, so that was about my pregnancy. When it got to the 38th week, I started having Braxton Hicks contractions, but I already knew what to expect. I knew that it wasn't labor. I could tell the difference between labor and Braxton Hicks. I mean, from movies, from antenatal classes, from my doctor, from pretty much the information is out there. So I just knew that, okay, fine, this is just my body getting ready. This is not the main labor. So on this fateful and beautiful morning, I was sleeping, and then I woke up to a fluid, or a kind of like water that just passed out from my body, right, while I was on the bed. It wasn't a gush of water. It wasn't so much, like it was just little, like a trickle, right? Like it felt like I peed, but I knew that I didn't pee. And then I woke my husband, who was sleeping beside me, and I told him, and he was like, call your doctor. I was like, babe, it's not the major this thing. I mean, it could just be anything. This is just part of the preparation for labor. Is normal. Me, I had filled myself with information. I had read, I had researched, I had done everything. So I felt like, oh, I knew everything, and everything was going to happen according to the books. So I was like, babe, it's normal, don't bother yourself, it's fine, And he was like, call your doctor. I said, okay, fine, let me just call. I need to, you will hear that there is nothing. So I picked up my phone, called the doctor, and she was like, come to the hospital now. And I'm like, wait. Like, more water, chicken, let me come to the hospital now. Well, calm down. And she was like, no, you have to come to the hospital. I'm like, babe, they said we should go to the hospital. Yeah, it was a Saturday. He just stood up, picked up the car keys, and said, okay, fine, let's go. So I got up, took my bag, got dressed, and we got to the car and we drove to the hospital. I was just chilled. I knew that it was nothing. Like, they will send me back because I'm not in labor. I didn't see any sign. I'm not contracting every how many minutes and everything. To see my doctor, we sat down and she said that like my water broke. I said no, my water did not break. Like I didn't see a pool of water. And she laughed and she said there are two kinds of water, or there are two kinds of she said there's the main one, the whole amniotic fluid, and then there's the protection or something. So she said that there's hind water and there's I can't even remember. I just know that there was a whole lot of medical stuff and terms and everything. She was like, it was the hind water that broke. It's not as plenty as the one in the amniotic sac. I was like, really? Oh, so something did happen. She said, yeah, there was a rupture. I said, oh wow. So she said labor is going to start in the next few hours, right? But if labor doesn't start, I would have to be induced. Ladies and gentlemen, I had heard so much about induction of labor that I did everything to prevent it. I wanted my labor to start by itself naturally, because I had always heard that whenever you're induced, it's more painful compared to when labor starts on its own. So I did everything. I ate dates. From when I was 28 weeks pregnant, I would eat about 6 to 7 dates every day. Thankfully for me, my blood sugar level wasn't high, so I could, eat a lot of dates. And I used to walk around. So I wasn't dormant. I wasn't the lay in bed type of Peggy. I was always about, up and about, and stuff like that. And my blood sugar level was not high. So I took dates. I took a wedu. I did exercises. Went up the stairs. Came back. I did everything. I did Kegels. I did everything to ensure that my labor would start by itself naturally and I would not have to be induced. So when she said I'll have to be induced, I was like, no, this was not the plan. I had a birth plan and it did not involve being induced. Like, what is going on here? And then she was like, due to the rupture, right, if the baby is not taken out on time, there could be an infection. Like bacteria could enter and the womb could get infected, baby could get infected. But when I heard that, I was like, infection, yeah. when are we inducing? Because all my head, all my mind was to protect my baby. All my head, all my mind at that point was to protect my baby. So whatever it took, I was ready to do it. So they placed me on the monitoring, this monitoring thing. Hey, it's been a whole year, so I can't really remember the terms. So we did the whole monitoring thing, to check baby's heart rate and everything, make sure that the baby is not in distress. And trust my baby, that one was just moving inside my tummy. Kick this baby, just kicking wherever they put this thing. She would just kick, and it would move to another part and all of that. So after the whole monitoring and everything, there was a little bit of contraction, but nothing major. It was still the Braxton Hicks, right? So the labor had not started, even though the hind water had ruptured. So they told my husband and I that I would have to come back Monday morning for induction. I would have to be induced on Monday, 11th of January. I would have to be induced on Monday. Okay, they said if the labor starts before then, there'll be no need for induction. So we went back home and I danced and I jogged and I climbed the stairs and I took ewedu, I took pepper soup. I did everything to make sure that the labor would start on its own and I would not have to be induced. The labor didn't start, and by Sunday evening my baby bag had been packed already. I packed it like a week before, because from 36 weeks the baby can come at any time. So I had packed my hospital bag already. I had it packed. I just took it, put the car seats in the car and everything. And then we went to a hotel to stay and, you know, just chill. And then that very night, we walked around, we played. So we did all of that, right? Hoping that it would also trigger. In fact, that I was so active. I was so active that night. Like, you wouldn't even know that I am like very, very heavy and due to have a baby. I was just jumping up and down. We walked, we played, we did all of that. And then my husband saw some of his friends because we were meant to meet. And then we went to one of the restaurants and we had dinner. There was DJ, we danced, we played, we partied and everything. I was supposed to be induced the next day. So I was so heavy with my tummy, but I played, I had fun and everything. And then I got back to the room and, you know, reality hits and I was like, okay, so this labor has still not started. Then the next morning, because our appointment was for 6 a.m., we woke up. I couldn't see anything. I couldn't even pray. I just put my playlist to my worship songs, and then it just kept playing and playing, and you know, I was just connecting to the songs. All I could do at that point was just sing along. And I was a little bit scared, but like, okay, this is it. And when it was time to leave, we took our things into the car and my husband was driving, and I just looked back and I saw the car seat and I just told him that by God's grace, when we're going back, the car seats will not be empty, that we'll have our baby in the car seat. And that moment was a really nice, beautiful moment. Like, we both looked at each other and we both laughed and smiled and, you know, said amen, and we held hands and drove to the hospital. So that part was really, you know, touching. Like, and then we got to the hospital. They admitted me into the hospital. They put me in one of the wards. Very beautiful hospital, lovely ward, but so boy sweet. Now money killer. So very, 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 very lovely room. I didn't share a room with anybody, you know, with the whole COVID and everything. They didn't even allow guests. It was just my husband and I throughout. So we got into our room, beautiful room. It had like an extra closet space. The room itself was large with the TV and everything. And then they put me on the bed, and then they came to set up this monitoring thing again. But I just wanted to walk around, like I just wanted to walk around and everything. But they put me there and started monitoring like the contractions and baby's heartbeats and all of that. And by I think 12 p.m. they came. Before then they gave me loads of intravenous injections, loads of drips and all that. In fact, my hands, because of the rupture, they were trying to prevent infection, so I was loaded with antibiotics. So my hands, my veins were being poked for different drips with different syringes and all of that. So by 12 they started the first round of, or the first session of induction. And then the labor started and, you know, increased. I started contracting and all, and in fact I was in labor for hours. And they came, they were still, and they had to monitor. I had to be on the bed. Like, I was in so much pain because I was on the bed, because they had to monitor the baby, the whole heart rate. They didn't want the baby to be in distress because of the water that had already ruptured. But I just wanted to walk around. Like, I wanted to move around. I wanted to change positions. The bed was not comfortable for me. But because of the baby that they had to monitor, it was just not. And I don't know, I feel like moving around would have helped to speed up like the whole labor process and everything. Being on the bed just hindered a whole lot. But then I just had to, you know, be on the bed. So for hours and hours and hours and hours, and then they came to check the cervix dilation, and I didn't even know to measure how well your cervix is dilated. I didn't even know it's a very painful process. I thought probably there's some kind of instrument that they just put that would just, read like a thermometer that would just show like the degrees or something, or like I would just show how many cm or whatever. It is crazy. Like, the pain is excruciating. Damn. So they came to check how many cm dilated I was, and it was still 1 cm. Like, with the way I felt, I thought by now, like, I was ready to have the baby. Like, I thought I was ready to get CM. And then they said my baby's Aries heart rate was beginning to increase. It was really beginning to increase. So they had to slow down the whole, the whole induction. They had to bring it back down. They had to slow down the whole labor process and everything. So they gave me a pill to calm it down. And then I slept, calm down. There was it didn't proceed beyond 1 cm and everything, so it calmed down. I slept, the heart rate also reduced. And then it came again in the evening, I think around 7 p.m. to start it up again, which they did. And once again the pain started, and I was in so much pain. And then after some time, I told them to take me off the whole monitoring, whatever, because I needed to move around. Like, I just needed to move around. So I was moving around, but I wasn't shouting. That was why, even some days when I talk about labor and how painful it is and everything, my husband would be like, did you feel any pain? You that you were not shouting or you were not, and I'm like, because I didn't scream does not mean I wasn't in pain. Like, one of the nurses told me when she saw me, she was like, it's good that I'm not shouting. She told me to save my strength for pushing. She said I would need that strength to push. And before then, I had a discussion with my doctor about using epidural or not. But I told her I didn't want to use epidural because for some reason I just felt like not using epidural just makes you some sort of super mom, or just makes you strong. Like, I wanted to do everything the normal, like, natural way. I just felt like, it's a strong thing to do and everything, which I was really wrong. Like next time I would jump at it. I'm not even going to form was strong for anybody. I would jump at it. So if you have that notion now and you are thinking, anybody that uses the epidural is weak or it's not a natural birth, please just take it off your mind. If it will help you, if it will reduce your pain, please take it, do it, use it. So I actually paid for epidural at the last minute. Yeah, I told her, okay, fine, I would use it. So I paid for it already at the last minute. I paid for natural delivery with epidural. They sent me the quotation before then. They sent for natural delivery, they sent for with epidural, and they sent the one for CS. And I was like, no, I didn't even want to have the thought of CS. I didn't even want to have discussion of CS with her. Like, CS was not an option for me. It had to be natural delivery, natural or nothing. I mean, not with everything I had heard about CS. I didn't want CS. I just wanted the whole natural delivery. That moment, like, it was just because I was in labor and this cervix was not expanding. So the nurse came and she said I should save my strength. She was like, don't use all your strength, She was just there with me, and she was very nice and sweet, and always coming to check in on me and everything. And she said, just save your strength and everything. And then my doctor came in around 8 and she was like, Ella's a strong woman. I want to see how you're going to push this baby without epidural today. I just told her that, Mercy, I paid for epidural, I beg. So she checked again. I was still in labor, contracting and everything. And then they checked again around 9-10 p.m. and it was still 1 cm. Like, I was in labor for the whole day and I was in so much pain. I was ready to push this baby out. Trust me, I was tired. And then they had to leave it again. I think around 12 a.m. they had to stop the process again. They gave me another pill that calmed it down again. And my doctor was like, if by tomorrow your cervix does not improve beyond this, you might have to do a CS. I started crying and I started praying. Why was I even crying? I was like, God, remember the promise I made to you. No CS, no this thing. I'm going to deliver my baby like the Hebrew women. This. I kept on saying that. My husband was even like, he was like he didn't even want to hear CS. It was like, she said she's not doing CS, just forget about it. Tomorrow we're going to do the whole induction process and she's going to push this baby out. So the next day, before then, I had spoken to my mom, my dad. I told them the situation and everything, and trust me, nobody slept in my house that night. Everybody stood in the gap. And the next day they came again. I was already tired of the inject. In fact, whenever they come to look for a place to inject, because I had to be taking these antibiotics because of the infection, to prevent the infection, and so many other things with the whole induction, the whole I think, is it pain medications or what, I don't even know. But whenever they even come to look for a vein to pop the syringe in, I would be crying like, nah. My husband was so strong, like at some point he couldn't even take it anymore. He had to tell them to look for some, they had to start bringing the tiny needles from the baby, the needles they use for babies. They had to start bringing it for me because I couldn't take the big needles anymore. And then by the next day, they came again in the morning and started the whole process all over again. And I was ready, like I was ready to push. And the whole day I was contracting, I was in labor. It would calm down, and they put me on this monitoring thing again. By evening, her heart rate had, started dropping. I think that was around 5 p.m. and my doctor came and she was like, Ella, I don't want to keep putting you and your baby through this. You have to do CS. Oh my God. I burst into tears. Like I was weeping because, in fact, I told my husband went out to meet her and he was like, no, she can't do CS. She has to. What's the other option? How long can we keep going? And the doctor was like, for the sake of your baby, let's take this baby out now. This baby has been through so much in the past 2 days. In my head, I'd had some preconceived notions about CS from what I see in the movies, where they'll be rushing the woman, and they'll be doing, the thing will be sounding do, and somebody will come and they'll press the heart, this thing, push, and they'll be running here and they'll be running. So that's the picture I had of CS. I felt like it was always an emergency, life or death situation, and God forbid, in some cases it's there they'll not say it's either the mom is coming out or the baby is or something. So I was not well grounded because I believed in whatever I affirmed or whatever I fed my head with, whatever I fed my mind with, that was what was going to happen during my childbirth. So I had envisioned the whole process. I saw myself delivering, pushing out my baby. So CS was not an option. So I didn't read up anywhere. Anywhere I saw anything on CS, I would scroll. Like, I didn't even want it to stay anywhere in my head. Wherever I saw CS, I'm like, no, this is not my portion. This is not for me. It's not my destiny. It is not my. I would pray against it. So I was not grounded in it. I had no information about it. So I was scared. I was like, me, CS, as young as I am, I'll fight. I have the energy. I have the strength. Like, there's nothing wrong with me. CS is for people with complications or for people with this. That's what I was telling myself. Like, I'm not old. I don't have one ailment or one disease that's going to stop me from this thing. My pelvic, whatever, is the right side. So what is stopping me from, like, there is not, like, I am fully okay. Because how can I have carried a pregnancy healthily for 9 months without complication, nothing was too high, nothing was too low, everything was perfect, and at the last minute you are telling me that I cannot finish it up and I have to cut? I'm like, no way. And then my doctor came in and she spoke to me and she was like, see, it is not what you think, okay? It is far from what you think. You get, like, relax, just, you have to do this. Don't you want to save your baby? And I'm like, my baby, I must save this baby. If it's CS, let's do it. So they came in and they brought all these documents to sign, and we had to pay extra fees. So he signed, we gave them the papers, and then we waited for them to prep the theater and go in. So I didn't even know how to feel. I couldn't talk. The room was gloomy. I just didn't know how to feel. I'm like, God. I was still waiting for a last minute miracle. Like I was like, one sort of contraction should just start, or like I should just go and pee. Even all the times I told nurses I wanted to pee, they had to follow me so that I would not go and pee. And then the baby comes out. So I was just waiting for that last minute miracle, you know, that 11th hour miracle. And I'm like, what's happening? Like, am I really going to do this? Yes. And then they came and they dressed my husband up in theater clothes, gave him the scrubs and the slippers, or I don't know what it's called, and they brought me. And in the theater, like, the theater was pretty chilled. They were even playing music, they were all gisting, like everybody was just like, I didn't see the running around, I didn't see the boom boom boom, the heart something, I didn't see I was like, what's going on? And then I've forgotten the name of the doctor. Very, very nice and friendly man, doctor that gave me a epidural. He just told me to sit. He said, okay, you just feel a little prick on your back, you know, just sit up, fold yourself, hold your legs, and I'll just do this. So he gave me the epidural, and I don't know if it was the fear, if it was the thing I've seen from movies, but I was shivering. I was shivering in there as I lay down there. I was shivering, like I was so cold. I was shivering so much. The AC was on, but it was not the AC that was making me cold. I was scared. I was so scared. I told them that she please bring my husband in. So my husband came in, sat beside me. He held my hand, but I was shivering to my bones. They had started. In fact, as he came in, he could see everything. He could see. He said he had already seen the mark that they drew on my tummy and everything. And you know, so while I was shivering, while I was shaking already, they had even started cutting. He was like, I have nothing to be scared of. That all of them, like, can't I hear them? That they are gisting, they are laughing. Like, there's nothing to be scared of. I didn't even answer him. I was scared. And then he told them to turn off the AC. So they turned off the AC. It got warm, but I was still shivering. I was still cold. I was shivering. God, I was so scared. It wasn't up to 3-5 minutes. Like, I just started. I heard a baby crying. And my husband was like, that's our baby, our baby is out. I was like, is it like? He was like, that's our baby, that's your baby. I said, it's not true. And then he stood up, he checked. When I heard the baby cry, that was the first sigh of relief I got. I was still scared and everything, you know, I was still shivering, but still, I, you know, was calm a bit. I didn't even know they had started. I didn't feel anything, any single thing. I didn't even know they had started doing anything. Like, I was numb, like numb. Then, while I was still scared and everything, shivering and everything, then the nurse brought the baby, brought Ari to me and put her beside me. That was the only moment that I stopped shivering. At that moment, there was no like, it just got warm. Like that, man, that feeling is magical. It can't be described. Like, I was shaking, I was cold. But that moment when they brought her to me and put her beside me, everything made sense. I forgot the whole, whether it was, I didn't even know whether it was CS again or whether it was, I did not even care. At that moment when she was there, when she was beside me, every single thing made sense. Wow. Trust me, guys, God is great. So they took her to clean her up, you know, get her freshened up and do some other things. And trust me, when they took her again, I started shivering again, but it was better than before. Like, I still felt cold, but it was better than before. So they started doing the stitching up, like bringing out the baby. It was even the removal of the waters, the stitching and everything. That was what made, like, that was the long part. Bringing out the baby did not, and in my mind I'm like, what was I scared of? See, we need to do a proper orientation. We need to do a proper, like, women need to be reorientated about cesarean section, like CS. It is not what it's like. So they continued the whole stitching and everything, and that was what was taking time. And then after some time, I think the epidural began to wear off, because I began to feel, not that I was feeling pain, but I could feel that things were happening on my body. I could feel their hands. And then I told my husband to tell them that I'm beginning to feel something. I'm beginning to feel something. You guys hurry up, whatever it is you're doing. And then he told them, and the doctor was like, can you feel this? I said, yes, I can feel it. Not that it was painful, but when somebody is tapping on somewhere that there is pain, there's this feeling you get within. So I could feel it, and I told them that they should just do whatever it is that they are doing, because if this thing wears off, I don't want to feel any pain. And my husband asked if I could move my legs. I tried, but like my brain, oh man, that shit works. That thing really works. I was trying to move my legs, but I couldn't. Like I couldn't move my legs. I couldn't feel my legs. My legs were just there on the bed, boom. And I could move my body. I could move my fingers. I could move my eyes, everything. But from my waist down, I was trying. Like, you know, when you're telling yourself, my mind. I knew I was trying, but no, I couldn't move anything. And that was when I even realized that I had been peeing. I didn't even feel anything. So they moved me to the bed to take me to the recovery room, and then I slept. I was so tired. I slept. But at some point, I started hearing Ariana crying. She was really crying. I was like, what's going on? Like, why is she crying so much? And they were like, she has not eaten. And then my husband had to go and look for food by 11 p.m. Had to see that Ariana and food there. Like, that girl, she was crying. So he had to look for so I was not informed, I was not prepared. I thought I would be able to breastfeed immediately my baby came. I didn't even know if I could or not, but I was too weak. I couldn't stand up, I couldn't move my body. I was just on the bed. So there was no way I would have been able to breastfeed. And then they moved me to the room, and they put me on my bed, and I slept till the next morning. And the next morning, the nurses came, sit down at my hospital. They are so efficient, it's so annoying. Like, they want to clean when they want to clean. I'm like, I can't take my bath. They said, see, if you don't come down from this bed, if you don't move, you're going to regret it. The more you move, the faster you heal. And I was like, in this pain, move. How? It's not me, I people. I begged them. I said, please, you people should leave me here. Please come back by 9 a.m. Because they came back only at 6 a.m. They said, no, it's for your own good. And carried me, the nurses carried me to come down from the bed, because I had to go and take my bath. They had to clean me up. Gosh, the pain was, got to my brain. So painful. It was so painful. And then they, did clean me up and everything. Showed me also how to clean myself, because water I was supposed to touch, the place where they made the cuts and everything. And although I felt a little bit relieved walking back to my bed, like it was easier than going. And that's when they told me that for the muscles to heal and for everything, I need to, if I stay on the bed for a long process, I'm going to heal to myself. And then I came back, I sat on the chair, waited for them to clean and do everything, and then I went back to the bed. I didn't want to stand up from that bed, because at that point, that was just where I was comfortable. Anything that had to bring me down from the bed was just a lot of pain. And then I think for the first time I had pap. I was able to take pap. I had Ari by 8 p.m. on Tuesday, 8:03 p.m. 12th of January. So we're in the hospital till Thursday. I think I was discharged on either Thursday or Friday. I think I left on Friday. So we're in the hospital. Pretty much monitoring me, monitoring Ari to be sure that we didn't have any infection. So thank you so much for listening to this I know it was really long, but yeah, it feels good to finally share because it's been on my mind, and I've been wanting to talk about it. So thank you so much for listening. I hope you learned a thing or two. CS is not as bad as we make it. It's not as bad as society. In fact, it is not even bad at all. Like it's just the pain which is inevitable. I mean, if you have like it's a surgery, so obviously there will be pain. I don't know why society has made it seem like some people even say it's an easy way out. Easy way out? Cutting someone to bring out a baby. It's not an easy way out. It's not cheating nature. I had to pick that to make sure my baby survived, and I would do that over and over and over and over again. And nobody can shame me for doing that. Doing CS doesn't make me any less of a. In fact, I am more of a mom than many people that would do that would. There are people calling natural delivery. They're all natural deliveries. Please, it was not a robot that gave birth to my baby for me. I gave birth to my baby by myself. So that makes me an amazing mom, a fantastic mom. I clap for myself for having to make that decision for my baby, to make sure that my baby was okay, rather than leaving her in my womb stressed and all, which God forbid could have led to another thing. So you guys watching this, if you've been guilt tripped by anybody or by yourself, if you've been feeling guilty thinking that because you had your baby through CS makes you less of a mom. No. You are not less of a mom. You are an amazing, fantastic mom. And if you're pregnant watching this and you've zeroed out CS, I'm not saying that CS is going to be your portion, but I just want you to know that CS is not bad. Leave the door open for it so that you will not end up like me. It's not that big a deal. Do you understand? So and if you're yet to be pregnant, if you're watching this, trust me, CS is not a crime, it's not a taboo, you're not cheating nature, it is just a way to make sure that you and your baby are safe. So I also like to thank my husband for being there for me and with me every step of the way. From the moment we stepped into the hospital, we were alone together till I had Ari and we came home. I mean, so much strength, so much courage. He had to be there for. I was still recovering. I couldn't move from the bed. I couldn't even shift. He was the one bathing Ari. The nurses showed him how to bathe Ari, how to change her diapers. He was feeding her. The nurses would come, make her milk. They showed him how to do everything. In fact, Mr. Akins, thank you so much. I mean, you made it. You made it. I don't know how it would have been if it wasn't human. I really don't know. So we'll be continuing with breastfeeding and my recovery process in the next episode. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, make sure you leave a comment, save, share, do everything you need to do so we can spread the word that CS is not a virus. Being a CS mom doesn't make you any less. In fact, there's nothing like CS mom. You are a mom. Okay? So guys, my name is Ella Akins, and once again, thank you for watching this video. This is Life with Ella Akins. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Thank you. Bye.